Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Mildly Gothic and the audio is going to suck for a little while. I'm just going to record the intro and there's probably going to be some little bits of me talking throughout. I'm going to listen back to it and if it's really terrible then I won't include it and I'll do a whole new intro and probably audio dub over whatever I said. Because I'm in my bathroom and this is a new bathroom and it is much bigger than my old one. Which means more echo. There's a limited quantity of like some soft things in the room to hopefully dampen the echo a little bit. We'll see how that goes. But today I want to kind of combine two looks I've done before. The first one being this little candy cane demon look, and the second one being one I've actually done on the channel, which is this frozen frostbite look with icicles. And basically I want to make those icicles and redo this creature, except blue and, you know, very fantasy, very creepy in that way. Basically an icicle queen demon thing. We'll see. We'll figure it out. So first, I have my icicles made and I made them the exact same way as I did previously, so I might include some clips and stuff of that just as a little refresher. And I'm going to do like the white base and then use different... I've got three blues. I've got a light blue, a dark blue, and a purple. We're gonna use that, and then I have some eyeshadow. I'm really hoping, I bought this recently because I love Robert Welsh, but super wide array of colors, and they have a lot of blues, and they have some nice sparkly ones. So for doing a beauty makeup, I think this is gonna help me out a ton. And I'm moving in and out of frame, and I'm so sorry. But yeah, basically first things first, we're going to do the old classic chaotic applying latex to my forehead. I was thinking about blocking out my brows. I've decided I'm not going to. We'll see if I regret that decision. But yeah, we're gonna get started on gluing things to my face. I own one of these things, but I've never used it before, so we're gonna try. I don't have nearly as many icicles as when I did the other horn look, but I hope that's okay. I really don't know how this is gonna go. I haven't done a special effects makeup look in months, and I miss it. So the goal of today is to have fun putting things on my face, regardless of what the outcome is. Did I actually hit record? Yes, I did. Oh my God. Okay. So I have here, my little doodads. And yeah, we're gonna start with putting them on my face because I have to get those down first before I can do any of the rest of the makeup. So let's get to it.
So before I actually got to gluing anything to my face, I decided I wanted to try to base out kind of a base area in white around where the horns were going to go, because especially at least behind them, more in my hairline, I knew it was going to be really hard to get the colors I wanted in that area. Unfortunately, this didn't really do anything. I really should have basically blended black into my hairline behind where the horns were going to go rather than white. That probably would have been more useful, but that's okay. I was able to fix it in the end. To apply the icicles to my forehead, I used spirit gum, which is just a glue, and so I put a little bit on my forehead and then some on the icicles, and then in classic fashion of being far too impatient, I stuck them together before they were fully tacky. With spirit gum, like many adhesives, you want to apply it and then wait until both surfaces are tacky before adhering them to each other. That is going to give you the best chance of it sticking and not falling off. Several of the first icicles fell off a couple times because I put them on too early, but that's okay. You just kind of stick them back on there. It wasn't really a problem. The thing I did have to play with was how far on my forehead I put them, because too high up and then there wasn't enough stuck to my forehead and the icicles were flopping over, and nobody wants floppy icicles. So that was another interesting challenge, but basically just scooted them a little bit further down on my forehead, closer to my eyebrow, and that solved the problem. The order in which I put the icicles on, I did the biggest ones first because I wanted those in the back, and then I did the smaller ones, basically big to small, kind of stacking them so the tallest ones were in the back and the shorter ones were in the front. This visually, I don't think impacted things too much, especially for the fact that I just didn't have that many icicles. If, considering the candy cane demon look that I did, that one had more icicles, and so that was a little bit more important. But for this one, I didn't have that many, but I still think that was the best process to create the best structure. So I decided to use scar wax to build up the area around the icicles because I decided to go for them bursting out of the skin instead of having them be incorporated into the look. I'm not sure if that's what I intended to do when I started, but that's just where the creativity took me. And so to do this, basically, I made a long, thin snake out of scar wax. For these kinds of applications, you want the scar wax thinner than you think, because in your hands, it's always going to look small. And then when you hold it up to your face, it's always going to end up too big. So if you're rolling out a snake for scar wax like this, make it a little bit thinner than you think you need to, because I promise you it's going to be okay. So there was some extra spirit gum in the area, so that really helped it adhere. And then I used my fingers to kind of smush the outside edge, and I'm coating my hands in micellar water just to make sure that it doesn't stick to the scar wax, because scar wax is very sticky. And I used then a metal sculpting tool, also coated in micellar water, to kind of help roll and blend those edges into my forehead. Once I had it kind of generally flattened, I dunked a cotton swab in some acetone and rubbed that along the edges, kind of trying to blend them out. And it actually worked super well. And you'll see in the final look, these edges I think are some of the cleanest ones I've ever gotten in a special effects makeup, and that made me really happy. I fully did one side and then the other because you want to make sure the scar wax is still malleable so you can work with it. And when you roll it in your hands, that's when it gets nice and malleable. So I put one side fully on and then I did the other. You can see because of the acetone that I ended up wiping off most of the white paint I put on my forehead in the first place. So again, was that helpful or useful? I don't think so. I think I just wasted some of my own time. But that's all right. It's my time and no one else's. So I just repeated the same process for the other side, also making sure to push the scar wax up over the icicles a little bit so that their base was completely covered. So then it came to paint my face white. And I started with a traditional makeup sponge and kind of dabbing that on my face, and then that was taking way too long. So I went for a very wide, flat paintbrush and basically just streaked it across my face. That's not ideal for the final application because that brush will leave, obviously those visible streaks. And so my plan was to just coat my face in as thick layer as I could and then use a makeup sponge to kind of soften the brush stroke edges. It honestly mostly worked. I also was using it to not stab my eyeballs with a paintbrush. I painted over the scar wax pieces in full white as well. I was a little hesitant to put the paint on it, but it ended up sticking and everything was just fine. But painting with white like this is really annoying because every coat I found ended up being so much brighter than the one before it. So I felt like I was constantly just applying layer upon layer upon layer to my face. But I really only used the paintbrush for this first coat to try to get it as solid and as staunch as possible. I did also paint down my neck and down a little bit of my chest. I decided not to do my full chest into my cleavage because that felt like just a lot and I didn't want to do that. So I didn't, but I made sure to cover my neck and trying to wrap around a little bit on both sides and making sure to go wide enough that it would be covered by the shirt that I wear for the final product. So to start the contouring, I went in with the darkest blue, and I am using a makeup brush. However, this is not eyeshadow. This is one of my Diamond VFX paints, and I decided to start in a place where the contouring made the most sense to me, and that is the eye socket orbital cavity region. And that is basically doing a very aggressive nose contour. So that inner corner of my eye all the way up the top of my orbital socket. And I was incorporating my eyebrows here, mostly just to make them go away. Because I didn't want I didn't want to deal with trying to style them or something. I just thought they were going to get annoying and complicated. So I just mixed them in with the blue. Another thing I did is I, kind of tried to follow a general contour map and put that dark blue where you put the darkest contour. But I don't actually use contour. I don't think I've ever actually put contour, the makeup product, on my own face. At least not well, in my personal opinion, because it always just ends up looking like dirt, and that's probably a color match issue. But yeah, I was trying to contour my face with blue, and I also decided that those icicles needed a little bit of extra blue because the blue that I'd painted on them originally didn't go all the way down. So I actually used the dark blue and painted the base of those icicles blue and kind of tried to fill the cavity with that a little bit more as well. I knew that dark blue color wasn't going to blend into the white perfectly on its own, like not at all. So I decided to layer my light blue on top of it and take that a little bit more into those open white areas of my face because that's kind of my mid-tone. So I don't know if that would be a blush in this analogy. Who knows? But yeah, I layered that kind of on top of the blue and then also into some of the white space, trying to blend it where I could. It blended better in some places than others. I did contour around the tip of my nose, and I just dusted some color on my lips because it was throwing me off that they were white because I knew in the final look I didn't want them to be. I wanted them to be a very pretty blue. I also decided to go for a very harsh under jaw contour. So again, dark blue on the edge, lighter blue underneath. And as you can see here, I mean, it's just really pale. This took a lot of time and a lot of layering. And basically, I was a little scared, I think, to commit to the intensity of the color. That was definitely a big problem. So, when I was getting a little overwhelmed by the color, I decided I needed to work on my eyes because maybe that was the problem. Maybe I hadn't brought it into my eyes yet. And so I started with the lightest color around my eyes, taking that underneath and filling in more of that orbital cavity with the lighter blue. I then tried to kind of do a more traditional beauty makeup later, but to mixed success. I also did take the dark blue further along my orbital cavity, and really this was just about playing with colors, and for someone who's never actually contoured their face, this was a very interesting challenge and experiment. Something I did struggle with is the two makeup brushes I was using to apply the blues obviously don't have crisp, straight edges. So my initial layers were very fuzzy and blotchy. And so I ended up spending a lot of time with a makeup sponge and some white to try to clean up those edges and get them to be a lot crisper because I thought that would help the final look less messy. I don't know why. I thought potentially using the contour color on my upper lip would help, and all it did was give me a mustache, so that was a bad idea, and you'll watch me remove that mistake in a minute. But the lipstick I used for this is one of my favorite lipsticks. It's called Press and Play. I don't remember the brand, but it is a dark blue shimmery lipstick, and it's supposed to be one where after you apply it and let it dry, you press your lips together and it looks even more glittery. I didn't really use that attribute of it, but I did use it because it is a very beautiful dark blue base, and it was just absolutely calling to be in this look. So I decided just eyeshadow around the eyes wasn't really giving me enough, and so I went in with a liquid liner, and I decided to do super dramatic, like cat eye, and then from that, I decided to take an inspiration from drag makeup and bring that line down more horizontally on my lower lash, not follow my lash line, to give a different illusion that my eyes are bigger. This also works with this kind of makeup because it kind of follows those contour lines, and so you're making some really nice shapes on the face. So I took that black line down, and then because I have no coordination, it got a little messy, so I went back in with some white paint to try to clean up that general inner eye corner area.
So, haven't talked to the camera in a minute, and it's because I don't know what I'm feeling. So, I'm feeling very drag inspired because of the contour, and that's kind of why I wanted to do something like this. I've never done color contour or really contour in general. I don't contour my face. I always feel like it looks weird. I never feel like it looks right. So I thought that maybe a way to embrace that would be using color. And I like what I can see through my phone because when I look at that, it looks very blended and very nice. It's not. It's very patchy around my mouth and on my face. And that's because I don't have other colors to really blend or bring into this just very open section of my face. It's really messy down here. We're not going to talk about that. I'm not mad at what's happening though. I don't know why I decided to do the eyes like that. I think it just gives it a little something. I think that's kind of fun. I think if I had colored contacts, I would like this a lot more as well. That's a separate thing. I'm not done, but I might take a minute to figure out what I am doing because we're not terrible, but it's not good. This is also the first time I've ever done anything like this, and I know kind of the point of YouTube and a YouTube channel, it feels like to be this very polished, very clean image to then share how to do that. But that's not fun. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just having fun with colors on my face. So I hope you're enjoying so far. I have no idea what this is or what I'm doing. So I think also I really wish I had blonde. Like I wish I had a wig or something. I think that would help it a lot. What I'm planning to wear, I have this little like fur colored thing that I think is going to be really cute. So I'm planning on doing that. So I need a little bit of the neck. So I don't think the neck is terrible because it's not the focus. So I think my face needs to be a little bit more of the focus. So I think I'm not putting enough color on. I think what I need is to really lean into it more and go for the dark on the chin. I'm gonna pretend my ears don't exist and hope to not take pictures of them because I don't feel like dealing with them. I'm going to just go with more color, more blending, and just try to kind of keep at it. And I think I might just show you what that looks like in a bit. I was trying to shade the stuff around my lip, and it started just kind of looking like I was doing a drag king mustache, which I'm not against, but that was not the vibe or the intention. So we're gonna keep working it, and I'll show you whatever that looks like. Okay, so it's been a minute. If you can tell, some things have changed. And I'm sorry I didn't film it, but I'll explain what happened. So I've added, and this side is so much better than this one, I added some sparkles, and the reason is placement. This one's much more in the middle of my face. This one is a little too high up. I can't really get them off. It's fine. I've also added just 3 little sparklies to the bottom of the black. Was debating doing more, but we don't want them to be a lot, just a little. Added basically a fake Medusa piercing. I went through into the gap with the horns and I put black, and I made sure to try to get behind them as much as possible to reduce any appearance of skin tone back there. I used black eyeshadow in my eye sockets to kind of further give it a little bit more of a beauty look and kind of center the eyes a little bit more. I did a lot of different things with the eyeshadow, and so the color you can see on my lips here is from this Oracle from the Divination palette, and I've also been using a lot of basically the 2 shimmers are what's going on my lid. There's like really fine glitter. I have this like all over my face. Some of it intentionally, not all of it intentionally, so that's fine. I also went through and I like re-darkened all of the areas on the side of my face and kind of tried to re-blend that a little bit better. Did that along the top there, made sure to bring it up, redid the chin and at least kind of how that sits. And I still think it's a little messy around my mouth. I think that's okay. I'm at a place where I'm really happy with it. It looks weird. It looks fun. It still has a little bit of painterly, which I kind of like. So, I think I'm gonna call this the final look. I think bringing some lightness into the lips really kind of changed the where it sits. If you can't tell, my demeanor is much different. I'm very happy with this. I don't know if I need to do more on my neck. I'm a little terrified to pick up and put this shirt on because I'm gonna wash my hands before I touch that. I'm not sure if I need to do more on my neck. I think I might spend a little bit more time brightening up my neck, meaning adding more white, and then also finding wherever my collarbone sits and doing, I almost got that, and doing that light shading on the collarbone. I think that's gonna be like the one next thing. And then I'll take some pictures and be done. I've had a blast. I look so weird and it's so much fun. I had a great time putting this on my face, and I don't know why I'm trying to end this because I still got a little bit more to do. So I also need to make this side match this side, but that's fine. We are in a much better spot. I'm very happy with it. I think blocking my eyebrows also would have helped because I wouldn't have been forced into doing this like super dark orbital cavity kind of area. So I think that's also throwing me off, but that's fine. I'm gonna fix up this side a little bit, add my collarbone shading, and then we'll take some pictures.
Did I measure where the divot in my collarbone was when I did the neck contour? No. Should I have? Yes. I'm just very lucky that I kind of generally got the vibe down towards the center of my neck. So again, I used the darkest blue color on those edges to help better define the shadows, and went through and did dark blue and then the lighter blue for my collarbone and finished out my neck. And I did finish it off with the same glitter that's on my cheeks just for a little extra sparkly touch. This definitely, I think, kind of helped bring the whole thing together. And when I was done with all of the shading, I went and I used white and blended that back into all of the shading to brighten it up, to try to match my neck to the color of my face. Because this isn't foundation matching issues, this is just me not putting enough paint on issues.
You know what? I'm not mad at it. I'm really happy. I think that looks really cool. Anyways, I have no idea. I'm gonna have to take pictures and make sure I cut because I didn't really want to deal with shading cleavage. That just sounded like a whole nother problem. So yeah, I have turned myself into something weird, and I think it was really fun, and it's always nice to get into special effects makeups again. Special effects makeups are what started my entire journey that I think led to my YouTube channel, because it all started when I needed a costume in college and I wanted one cheap. So I bought some paints and turned myself into a super simple voodoo doll, and it just kind of kept going. I did a lot of other paints and things. Like, I've always crafted. Like, that's for real, don't get me wrong. Like, I've always been super crafty, super artsy. My mom has a Master of Fine Arts degree. Like, art has always been a part of me and like what I do, but I think special effects makeups were kind of a gateway to see what I could really do besides just paint a picture on a page. Which, questionable level of skill on that is fine. But that's what really challenged my creativity as far as figuring out how to make little prosthetics and things like that. And filming them seemed really cool. I would always take before and after pictures. Trust me, you don't want to see how long it's gonna take. You know the people who say like one wipe and it's all gone? This is gonna take a hot minute to remove, which is why I'm gonna immediately take a shower. But anyways, I am very happy in my little winter wonderland, and I honestly think the dark hair is kind of fun. It gives a really nice contrast with the light. I do wish still that I had colored contacts because I think that'd be really fun to add just an extra level of like depth. But special effects makeups are something I hold near and dear to my heart. And although I don't get to them very often because they require a lot of setup and a lot of planning, which all of my other things do as well, but it's a lot more to take a specific dedicated 3-hour chunk out of a day versus like small 20-minute bits. I don't know, I'm rambling. I'll probably cut some of this out. But I think this came out really fun, and I hope you've enjoyed. So thank you so much for watching, and I have just been joined by a special guest. Come here. No, you came in to say hi. Here's Peanut. Say hi, Peanut. Peanut's gonna go put down. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. If you've made it through this whole video, thank you. I have no idea what this is going to turn into, especially because I didn't film a good bit of it. it's weird, even though I could edit things out of the footage, I always feel like there's less pressure to do things when I'm not filming it. Because if I'm filming it, then there's the pressure of, well, it has to go right, I'm going to talk about it, I'm going to explain it, I'm going to show it. So even though I could always edit it out, but anyways, I hope you'll forgive me for not recording all of it. I think you can see what I've done for the most part, and it's just blending. It's just blending and stubborn determination. I think the quote I had in my head at the beginning of this was, I've got some paint, some brushes, and some audacity, and that's what we're going with. So, thank you so much for watching. It truly means the world. If you liked, maybe hit the subscribe button. I'm at 550, I think, ish. And so I was thinking if I get to 1,000 subscribers, I'll try to do something fun, maybe a Q&A. I don't know. If you have any ideas for what you think a fun 1,000 subscriber milestone video would be, you can let me know in the comments down below. Cosplay content will be coming back super soon because the convention that I go to, usually, is in April. And I want to compete Beetlejuice, so I've got a laundry list of things that I need to do to get him ready for that. And also, the actress who plays the Armorer will be there, and so my plan is to zhuzh up my Armorer cosplay and go wear it to meet her and have fun with that. Anyways, with all of that said, I've had a fun time with makeup. I hope I can show you that you don't have to know exactly what you're doing. You just have to be willing to try and have some fun. Thank you for hanging out in my weird little corner of the internet. I'm very happy to have you here. And with all of these rambles said and done, I will see you in the next one.